All right, Dan Malone here for MassLive.com, along with Mark Chiarelli of the Maroon Musket. We're here at McGurk Stadium just after UMass football's 15-10 loss on homecoming to Kent State, which Kent State perennially is one of the worst teams in the MAC, and UMass, at least kind of defensively, made them look like one of the best for an afternoon in a game that was really ugly. I don't think anyone who sat through the whole thing came out, enjoying it. And there weren't many, a lot of fans left.
Not many left.
But specifically offensively, UMass was just so poor. They finished with well under 300 yards total offense. Blake Frohnapple completed, 17 passes, I think. Sure. 17 of 32 for 171 yards. No touchdowns, threw a pick.
Sacked 3 times.
Sacked 3 times. Stepped out of the back of the end zone for a safety. And I'm wondering, after all that and kind of this ugly 15-10 game, are you surprised at just how poorly they came out against a team like this at home with so much on the line?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's surprising. Not only because of the way they played, the way if they played like this against any team, they'd probably say it's surprising because we've rarely seen this offense look that bad. But I think considering that it's homecoming, considering that you basically needed to win this game because Toledo's next week and your season's kind of hanging in the balance here.
I mean, that's a loss. I don't know how you can go into that game not thinking. I mean, obviously the players aren't, but if you're a fan who's watched this team this season, that Toledo game next week is a loss. That's just how good Toledo has been and how bad UMass has been.
Absolutely. So to see them come out, and not only did they come out and not execute, but it generally seemed flat. There was not a lot of energy throughout the entire game. So by and large, yes, very surprising. And I think if you're a UMass fan or a member of that team, a very disappointing day.
Yeah, I mean, this is a UMass team that in league play last year, I think they were first in the MAC in league play and scoring last year, well over 30 points. They come out and score 10 today, which, I mean, if you were a defensive player and you're going to say, oh, we're going to hold them to 13 offensive points, they're going to get a safety, 15 points, yeah, we're going to outscore them 15 points at home on homecoming, which is supposed to be, I mean, we don't remember last year's homecoming game, Bowling Green, that place was rocking.
Absolutely.
Not the case here today.
No.
That's a major letdown. I mean, and we asked Mark Whipple about it, what kind of went wrong, and he put a lot of it on himself. He said that it was play calling, he didn't call a good game. He said they were in a rut and he could never quite get them out. And, they were running the ball in the first quarter. They had over 50 yards rushing. They were kind of mixing it up. They had a couple ill-advised trick plays, but by and large, it seemed like they were kind of doing what they wanted. And then as the game went on and Frohnapple's miscues just kind of started piling up, the interception, a lot of low throws, they kind of just, they were just running in quicksand and never really got out of it.
I agree. I think it's surprising also that we've walked away from, I think, every game outside of maybe Bowling Green, depending on how you want to spend it, and you say, the offense did not look great. And you think about back to last year where 30 points was pretty much, you expected. You expected points, you expected yards, and it has not come this year. And I think, obviously, you mentioned that Mark Whipple said he called a bad game. They had a bad game plan. We heard that last week from Tom Masella on the defensive side. So 2 weeks in a row that you're hearing the coaching staff says we just didn't do a good enough job. I think it's concerning. I think at this point during the year, I think that's concerning.
We asked them specifically. We asked both Jovan Santos-Knox and Blake Frohnapple if kind of the expectations are weighing on them. They both said no, but I don't know how it couldn't be. I mean, this is a team that talked openly about making a bowl game, talked openly about getting to Ford Field in Detroit for the MAC championship, and they've come out and they're 1-5. They're 1-5, staring 1-6, dead in the eyes with Toledo. That's not going to get it done. Mathematically, they're not eliminated from anything. But for all intents and purposes, they're pretty much eliminated.
You're halfway through your season. I mean, at some point, we've spent most of this year so far waiting. It's been, okay, it's going to come soon. We've heard it's going to come soon. At some point, you are what you are. They're running out of time to right this ship, and I think at some point, the expectations and what they actually are is going to meet in the middle, and it's going to disappoint a lot of people. Yeah,
Toledo at home, and then they have a couple of road games coming up. They're not back at McGurk until November 21st, near the end of the season, so it doesn't quite feel like last year's season. I mean, last year they went 3-9, but there was kind of that, hey, they're kind of building and they might be something good next year. I think at this point it's just like, this was their shot and they're blowing it. And we saw that, play out, scarily on the field tonight. Just kind of they had their opportunities and they did nothing with them. And that's how you lose to some pretty bad Kent State teams, 15-10 at home.
Sure, and I think not only on the field, but I took a walk through the tailgate scene earlier today. You saw some of the people, you saw some of the excitement. There's not too many times UMass enters a game and they're favored. And to see them come out and play this way with the lack of energy and just completely get shut down by a Kent State defense. Kent State hasn't won a game on the road since 2013. It's shocking, to be honest. It's shocking.
Well, now they have.
Yeah, now they have.
And like we said, tough game at Toledo next week. Not at Toledo, but at Gillette Stadium. And we'll be out there for it. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time.